Hi, good evening. My name is Spirit, and this is Spirit University. And this is a series called Deleted Ancestral History, previously called To Tell the Truth. So, this one here was, I did not realize myself, and but there are a lot of uh, cities that was uh, destroyed by European people, uh, the KKK, people that was just jealous of what the non-European people had in history. They did not feel that such people should have such luxuries as they did or better than them. And so a lot of people, a lot of these towns were burned, and the people of color killed or ran out of town, and the Europeans just took over the land, and that was it. Or the government or the state just took the land, and that was it. And they expected both sides to forget it. So this one is about old Ocoee massacre, and this is about people. The town, most of the town was of color, and they lived well, and there was a few people there, few European people that lived there, but the majority of the people were people of color. So this was in 1920, and the people of color had been given their rights to vote. So they was going to exercise that vote. Okay, and let's see here. A prominent Ocoee resident, July Perry, was beaten, shot, lynched as a warning to other people of color, citizens who dared to vote. He was one of the 30 to 80 residents killed and whose homes were burned down during the Ocoee massacre. Okay, in 1920, people of color, Ocoee residents, were driving nice cars and planning to send their kids to college. One of them, July Perry, had become a prominent businessman who would help broker land deals and arrange work for people. He also began registering people. He also began registering, registering people of color in the town to vote. An opposing force loomed. Okay, uh, because let's see here. A week before, they had been having Klan rallies and getting ready for peace people who tried to vote to uh, scare them away from voting. So, but let's see, but uh, what is his name? July Perry and what is it? Mose Morgan would not be scared. And so they went there to try to vote, but they would not uh, let them vote. So uh, it says the attack was intended to prevent people of color from voting. Poll taxes have been imposed as de facto disenfranchisement in Florida since the beginning of the 20th century. In Ocoee and across the state, various people of color organizations have been conducting voter registration drives for a year. In November 1920, Mose Norman, a prosperous people of color farmer, tried to vote, but was turned away twice after refusing to pay the poll tax on election day. Norman was among those breaking on the voter drive. Rightfully angered, he returned armed ooh, with a shotgun and threatened poll workers several times, so much so that there was a warrant out for his arrest. Reports say they fired reports say they fired at poll workers but were driven off. Later that day, some European residents of Ocoee was, was deputized by the Orange County Sheriff Deputy Clyde Pounds and charged with arresting Julius July Perry and Mose Norman. They surrounded the home of Julius Perry, where Mose Norman was thought to have taken refuge. In the process of attempting to arrest Perry, two, two men were killed and others wounded, although the perpetrators were never identified. Perry and his 19-year-old daughter, Carissa, was also wounded by gunfire. Reinforcements from Orlando and Orange County were called upon, contributing to a mob that laid waste to the people of color community in northern Ocoee and eventually lynching Perry, who was in custody at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, shooting and taking his body to Orlando, where he was hanged from a light post to intimidate other people of color. Norman escaped, never to be found. Hundreds of other African Americans fled the town, leaving behind their homes and possessions. Most of the people living in Ocoee don't even know that this happened there. Wow. For almost a century, many descendants of survivors were not aware of the massacre that occurred in their hometown because people were told not to talk about it. Uh, and a lot of the people's descendants that survived uh, didn't want to talk about it because uh, they had PTSD and they did not want to talk about it. So here, this year, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a law directing schools across Florida to teach students about Ocoee's Election Day Massacre. A section of the State Road 438 in Ocoee, Florida, has been renamed July Perry Highway. Now, what I think about this is not enough have been done for people of color because there are other towns the same as this that had massacres and people was killed, hung, and their land taken from them. And our ancestors have had lost so many things and tight-lipped and afraid to speak of a lot of stuff and not having this information in our history books have kept us from knowing about this. But I'm going to be one of the people that bring this information to the forefront and to younger people so you won't forget about it. And there's a saying that once you forget about something and don't talk about it, you are doomed to have it redone. It will happen again and again and again and again because you don't talk about it. You need to and do something about it. You know, the reparations is a good start. Okay? Um, People of color just want their ancestry back and what was promised. 40 acres and a mule. It's probably much more than that right now. There was promise at the end of the war and ending slavery. So it's much more now. So that's in information and a delve into our ancestry that was not told. But now it's out there and people just have to deal with it. So this was from the Smithsonian Archives. And thank you for listening and watching and come back again. And thank you, my tribe, my spiritual tribe, for supporting me. Take care of yourself and each other. And as I say, pass it on. Take care and good night. Thank you.